Hi everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. We have England captain Owen Farrell and England head coach Eddie Jones for post-match press conference. Ellie, should we come to you first?
Hi Eddie, could you just start by giving us your reaction to that?
Yeah, obviously disappointed. We lost the air, lost the scrum battle. When you play against a team as uncompromising as South Africa, you lose both those key contests. It's hard to get in the game. I can't fault the effort of our team. We went in there with a good design of how we wanted to play. When you lose those two key contests, it's just hard to turn the game around. It's hard to find a way into the game.
You've talked a lot about building for the future, about looking ahead to next year's World Cup, but I know you won't be happy with 1 from 4 this autumn. What do you make of where this England team is at?
Obviously on results. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Obviously on the results, we're not happy. But I feel like we're building a really good base to have a really good go at the World Cup. Really good base. Yeah, a number of young players got some great experience today. They'll come back better players from that. And we've got other players coming back to form. Some of our more senior players, and we're not far away.
What's next, I suppose, is my question, because it feels maybe unclear as a viewer, as a fan, what the kind of mark of this team is, and I wonder what is it that you feel you need to do between now and 6 Nations?
We need to develop consistency. Test match rugby is all about consistency. It's being consistent in your basics. Win the aerial contest when you play against South Africa. When you play against New Zealand, you've got to win the ruck contest. And we just weren't consistent enough in those, in particularly the aerial contests, and we weren't consistent enough in the set piece contest today to put ourselves in a good position. So we've got to keep working hard.
Anyone else?
How do you find consistency? Why don't you have consistency?
Because it's difficult, mate, when you play against good teams. Sometimes they take away the things you want to do. And South Africa were good at taking away the things we wanted to do. We've been really fantastic in the air up until today. And for some reason we weren't. And sometimes that can be a system problem in your team, and sometimes it can be just individuals having days off. So we just got to go away, come up with a better way of overcoming when we do we're down a little bit in areas, and be able to find other ways to get in the game. We couldn't get in the game today, and that was the most difficult thing.
Eddie, you've been very loyal to a lot of older players within the side, and you said there you've got to learn to do new things. Does that mean that with 8 games to go, we're going to look at new faces, or new tactics, or new strategies?
Well, I don't really understand your question to start with. We had 5 guys, all under 20 tests playing today. So that's 1/3 of the team is new. So I don't really understand your question, but I'm happy to try to answer it.
Okay, well forget that part of it. In terms, you said that you've got to try new things. Is that going to be strategy, tactics, or selection?
I think, as I said, I think selection-wise we're moving in the right direction. We've got a number of good young players coming through. I think a number of guys who've been out are coming back again to be in better form by the World Cup. So I think we're in the right direction. In terms of strategy is an interesting word in rugby. We want to play to our strengths, and sometimes you're allowed to play to your strengths, and sometimes you've got to find another way to play. So we're always looking to see how we can become more adaptable in that area.
Kenny, that's the second biggest defeat in Twickenham to South Africa. Obviously, you know about the record of worst results for the year since 2008. In wider context, are those stats important, or is it effectively not a problem if we deliver at the World Cup now?
I think it's always a problem, mate. We want to win. We don't want to get beaten by a big score by South Africa, and we don't want to have the worst record since 2008. So it's a problem. I accept full responsibility for that. So that's all I can say, mate.
You're so experienced as a coach, and you know that you sort of experience almost every situation, I guess. Have you been in this kind of situation before? Did you know? Are you sort of quite calm about knowing what to do next, about how to take that forward?
I think it's a bit of a watershed game for us guys. Yeah, I think we came into this game with high expectations of how we wanted to play on the back of New Zealand and Japan. And, you know, if you look at the first 3 games, we've dominated territory and possession. And this game, South Africa were a bit too tough for us in the air, a bit too tough for us at the set piece. So I know exactly where we've got to improve.
I mean, is sort of physicality the way to do it? Or do you do beating forward by, or do you?
Well, there's only one way you can ensure you don't have 4 scrum penalties, and that's the scrum better, which is a combination of physical strength, technique, mentality. There's not one key area, and we've got to work on all of those 3.
How do you ensure you don't have things like penalties being reversed on the opposition 22 by experienced Lions players?
I don't know whether you can, mate. I really don't know whether there's an answer to that question, mate.
Eddie, you said you needed to see some improvements at the scrum and in the aerial contest. Obviously, we as well as you knew that that's what South Africa were going to bring today, as they always do. Are those improvements possible with knowing what you knew was coming and you still didn't manage to prepare for it?
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. Like, we've been fantastic in the air, but we had an off day today. And sometimes that can happen. Scrum, you know, there's the power of the video, mate, in the scrum, isn't there? The power of the video in the scrum has a telling effect.
You're going into 2023 as outsiders for World Cup now, off the back of this year's record. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't really feel about it anyway. Yeah, the only thing I feel about is preparing the team as well as I can, and I don't really care what other people think, mate. I know you do, Nick. So if there's any better way to answer it, I will, mate. Let me know.
I mean, obviously, as a group of players, I'm sure you care very much about what's happened today. How do you review frustrating?
Oh, we're hurting, yeah. As I said, we couldn't get a foothold in the game today, and we're unbelievably disappointed with that. We felt good going into the game. We felt sharp. We felt together. It felt like we knew what the plan was, which we did, and we weren't able to execute. We weren't accurate enough in some bits, and that was across the board as well. Obviously, I played a role in that with the 2 missed easy kicks early on, and yeah, we're hurting, but we want to make sure that all the work that we put in over this last 5 weeks is not for nothing, and that this makes us better as a group, and we've got an opportunity to do that.
Because this is obviously the last game of this run now, does that kind of leave that frustration to linger until you get a chance to get in the field?
Yeah, well, we obviously go away and concentrate on our clubs, but I don't necessarily think that'll be a bad thing. In terms of, I think we'll come back hungry. I think we'll come back ready to get stuck in to the Six Nations. So, as I said, we want to make sure that all the work that we put in over the last 5 weeks is not for nothing. And you know, as I said, we're hurting. So we've got to use that in the right way.
Great stuff. Thanks for everyone.
Yeah, no, we've got a few. Will Stewart, elbow, not sure of the extent. Marcus Smith, ankle. Carl Sinclair's got a hip injury. Yeah, it wasn't a good day for us, mate. Wasn't.
Just obviously got back ahead of time.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those days, mate, where nothing seems to go right.
Right. Thanks very much, everyone.